Right, well, welcome back to fly fishing on Rutland Water. I've got an even tougher challenge tonight. Related to what happened last week, it is, can I catch a fish on the hottest day of the year? It has been 28, nearly 29 degrees today. And not only can I just catch a fish on the hottest day of the year, can I catch a fish on a dry fly on the hottest day of the year? Really, this is just a bit of fun. I just thought, there are fish in the area. And I'd heard rumours that this bay had been stocked. Now, if that's true, I'm hoping that one of them will come and pick up that daddy longlegs that's sitting beautifully in the surface film. And if that doesn't work, I will switch to a number of different dry flies tonight. I'm sticking with one single dry fly. That is the challenge. Now, I can see fish in the area. Now, I've got a foam daddy on at the moment. I don't know what they're feeding on, but there are definitely fish in the area. Now, I'd heard rumours, that was one just over there. Now, I'd heard rumours that Old Hall has recently been stocked. So these may be quite stupid or inexperienced fish. I've just thrown my first fly out. I'm going to go out just a little bit into the water. I prefer my line to be sitting in the water rather than... Now that was near my fly. I can see the fly quite clearly. Now I think they may be feeding... Well, that's a daddy longlegs on the water. There's also damsels and tiny little buzzers. I'm going to bring that fly in just a little bit, just to get a bit of movement. But it has to be on a dry fly tonight. That's the challenge I have set myself. And I've been a little bit lazy in that I've put the same fly on that I was fishing with across at New Zealand Point. Oh! That one went for the fly and I wasn't paying attention. That one went for it. Oh, I was too busy looking at the line down the road. Right, they're here and they are gonna take. I don't know, you maybe probably saw that even better than I did because I wasn't paying attention. That fish followed all the way in. I think we are gonna get fish tonight. That fish came up and had a really good look. But we've got the wrong fly on. Another one coming out of the water. This place is buzzing with fish tonight. If I don't get one on the dry tonight, I don't think I'm ever going to get one. But we shall see. Evening. I've turned 2 on the dry fly already. I've only been down for 5 minutes.
There's a lot of fish in here.
There's a ton of fish. I've seen double figures moving already.
Yeah, early Sunday morning there's loads about.
They seem to be... I've got just a daddy on one of these foam daddies and they've come up and had a look at it twice.
Yeah.
And one followed me in. I'm probably being lazy because I was getting them on daddies over at New Zealand Bay on Friday. So I just left the same fly on out of laziness.
Yeah.
but I think they're definitely picking stuff off the top.
I was getting, although they are taking stuff off the top. I had some on like a top hat buzzer.
Yep.
But then I found the most productive thing was actually retrieving a bit faster.
Well,
Like the damsel nymph on the point, small hairs here on the middle dropper, and then a Nemo on the top dropper.
I've seen a few damsels kicking about, but the thing is, when I'm filming, I set myself a challenge.
What are you going to get? Yeah.
So tonight it's hottest day of the year on a dry fly.
You'll do it?
Well, I've turned a couple, and then I was stripping the daddy back in there, and one followed it all the way in.
Yeah.
Now I've got it on the camera because I wasn't blooming well watching.
Because you can see here, on Sunday morning it was really still,
Yeah.
so you could see everything underwater. The amount of flies I was getting was ridiculous.
There's obviously a shoal just moving around in here,
They go up there, point,
and then back in again. Yeah.
oh well, I'll look out for the video, see if you can get one.
Yeah. Well, fingers crossed anyway. All the seasons so far, I've been filming every spot.
That's a good idea.
I just thought, I've been living here for years, and I was terrified of doing fishing off the banks. I always fished off the boats. But I thought if I do something like that, if somebody's got a reference point of which conditions, which places.
Place for years, but it's so big that people that are doing it just starting out, it's quite daunting, isn't it? There's so many places to go, and there's lots of places actually. You're not wasting your time, but there's definite hot spots certain times of year.
I mean, I was joking about this, that I got a really nice rainbow this time last year fishing on a dry fly for pin fry. Almost a year to the day, I got another fish off the surface, and it was almost like they're following a calendar, certain spots, certain things.
Well, the tricky brown is,
Yeah.
if people put them back, they often just stay around the same sorts of areas.
Say hello to the camera. Joking aside, do you want me to edit me out?
No.
I was going to say, 'cause it's nice actually, because you validated points that I've made about being in the right place at the right time, and there's patterns that if you follow them, it just works. But they're definitely here.
Yeah.
Thank you, you too. We're a nice chap. Now I've had 2 follows on the daddy. But they haven't taken. There is a lot of fish in here. Now, interesting, that chap was obviously found that he was doing it pulling fast, believe it or not, with nymphs. So again, that point that I've made before, that the fish like some movement, again is absolutely bang on. Maybe we've got the wrong fly. It may be that they are more interested in kind of buzzer-like imitations on the surface, but we'll see what happens. I've given this one a couple of casts. Fish coming out of the water there. There's a lot of fish in the area here. Definitely a lot of fish in the area. The thing I know is if they want it, they'll take it. When you've got the right fly on, you won't be left in any doubt that it's the right fly, because they will take. Now there must be fish seeing that fly all the time. I'm seeing fish to the left, to the right, right in front of me. Just might be that the daddy isn't the right fly. I haven't seen any daddies on the water. That's it. Oh, I went in. Excellent. Excellent. Hottest day of the year. Fish on a dry. Picked off the surface. Excellent. Oh, I love it when a plan comes together. That was a really visual take. I hope this time you finally got to see the take. I think it's only a stock take, but they all count. There's my net, so it's back over there. hottest day of the year. Now that was only about the 5th cast. Now I know exactly how many casts I took because I've been filming right from the beginning. And I had a lot, like the other night, I had a lot of takes before I finally landed the fish. And that's what's happening tonight. I had a number of takes before we got the fish. Right. And on the dry fly. The nice thing about fishing a single dry fly is you can get the fish onto the leader a lot more easily than, right, we'll keep this one in the water, or on the bank. That's swimming away. That's swimming away nicely. Now because I've caught a fish, I'm actually changing my fly because I want to try a number of different dry flies tonight. Just dry fly fishing is something that I'm quite new to, so I want to just try and see which different patterns work, because if the fish are feeding on buzzers, this suspender buzzer should work. I mean, the daddy longlegs is a good all-rounder, because although it's a bit early for them, it's the kind of thing that does get blown in the water, so it's not unexpected that the fish will take. So I'm now trying this little suspender buzzer to see if it will work just as effectively. I've got an array of dries that I want to just work my way through tonight. I'll give each of them 2 or 3 casts. Oh, we've lost the cloud. Now it may just be that I was lucky there because I had the cloud cover for that little period of time. It may go very difficult now that that sun is out, but it is the hottest day of the year. And interestingly, as soon as that sun has now appeared, the number of fish showing on the surface is dramatically reduced. I mean, that fish had quite a ragged tail, so I think it's just a bog standard stocky. The fish I've been getting this year have been generally quite high quality, but inevitably you're going to encounter the stockies at some point. Now, like I said, I'm sticking with this tactic tonight. I'm not going to switch on to nymphs at all. In fact, I'm almost thinking it until I switch to the boats, that from now on, until I move on to the boats, I think I'm going to almost exclusively fish dry flies. Not something I normally do, but again, I want to get a bit of experience of trying different techniques. What was also interesting was that I turned a few fish before I caught that one. I almost turned a fish on every cast. So they're clearly after something in the surface film, but they've stopped rising. They've completely stopped rising. I think that wind is helping. It's giving me a bit of ripple at least. It's bringing the fly around really nicely. It's looking very natural, like an insect would be if it was just floating in the surface film. It's got a small fly, I think it's a size 12, but very easy to see. The cul de canard really sits proud of the water, and right now we're getting a bit of cloud here. Now what should happen is that once this cloud comes over, we should start to see the fish start to boil on the surface again. Right, excellent. It's going a little bit dark. Now, I'm going to pull this one in a little bit because I want to get out a bit further. I'm expecting any minute now that we've got the cloud cover back, that I expect that the fish should start to show. Now I've got a decent distance out there. We've now got, the cloud is coming over. It's funny, I was sitting in my lounge and I just noticed it going dark, and that's what made me decide to come down. I thought, it's been baking hot all day, which means it'll be hard, but if we just get a little bit of cloud cover, the fish might show and come up on the surface. So again, it's total opportunist fishing. Now it goes without saying that these fish are probably not the most intelligent fish. if they're stockies, they'll just be learning how to feed and what to eat. I can see the fly quite nicely. The line's bringing it round in a nice bow, so it's fishing quite a lot of water. Now those fish are very close to my fly. Those ones that came out of the water are very close to where that fly is. Now, at New Zealand Point, what I found was if there was fish in the vicinity of the fly, they would generally come, take a look and grab it. So I'm watching that fly like a hawk. Because I've been missing quite a few. Another flying fish. These are definitely stockies. Oh, there's another one just in front of my fly. Might be the daddy longlegs as the fly to have, because there have been fish in the vicinity of that cul de canard, but they haven't looked at it. I guess when there's a lot of them in a shoal, they'll get competitive for the food in the water, and that's why you've got a chance of taking, because they're trying to get to whatever is available before the fish that's either side of them. That's a daddy longlegs near my fly line. Or is it a damsel? I think it's a daddy longlegs. It's actually on my fly line. Great. Now when the fish are doing that, I'm not convinced they're feeding. I think they're just acclimatising themselves to the water. If they've been in captivity for ages and they suddenly get let loose on a piece of water like this, they're going to start swimming around and splashing around, just at the sheer elation of being able to swim freely. I thought that fly would have been a dead cert. Absolutely thought the cul de canard floating buzzer would have been the fly. This is what it looks like. And I think that daddy longlegs was the right fly, because it does look a little bit like, a damsel as well. Damsel in distress in the surface film. We learned a lot from that exercise. I've learned certainly what fly doesn't work, but I mean, that's often the way with fishing. You've got to have the fish in the area, but also you've got to have something that looks something like what the fish are feeding on in the water, and that didn't, I don't think. Another fish coming out of the water. Oh, there's a shoal here. That's lots of fish. And like I said, I'm not necessarily sure that they look like they're feeding. They look like they're just swimming around with gay abandon. One of the things you learn to look out for is changes in the ripple, because often the fish doesn't come to the surface, but the movement of the fish disturbs the ripple, and you'll see like just a disturbance, or even something as a flat patch that kind of gives away the fact there's a fish moving under the surface, and it disturbs the natural ripple in the water. And interestingly enough, the chap that I was speaking to, the flies that he was fishing were almost exactly the patterns that I would fish at this time of the year. Nemos, gold rib hare's ears. He did mention damsels though, which I don't tend to use very often. But there are a lot of damsels in the water. Oh, well, that's put an end to today's fishing. This has been a fabulous rod. I've had it for nearly 15 years, and it's just decided to break. And it wasn't cheap. This was a £500 rod. Thankfully, I have another two like it just at home, and this one was a two-piece. It's now a three-piece. Right, that has put an end to my fishing this evening. I think the lesson learned there is carry a spare rod. I achieved my objective today, which was to catch a fish on the hottest day of the year, and making it a little bit more difficult by insisting that I would catch a fish on a dry fly. Now, it wasn't the biggest fish I've ever caught, but I achieved the objective, which is the most important thing. So thank you for coming fly fishing with me on Rutland Water. I'd hoped to have a slightly longer session than the one we've had, but unfortunately the rod is broken and I don't have a spare one in the car. So we're just going to have to leave it there. If you like this video, please remember to hit the like button, and I'd be delighted if you would subscribe to the channel to see more of my fishy adventures. Thanks for watching.